Well, this is another supplement to the little initial video I did on how do we think about what winning is in our culture and what are the ways we go about winning. I've been talking in the recent ones about the law of God. And I want to say something, well, really to everybody, whether you're a Christian or not, that, I got the law and its place and its role in my life as a Christian wrong almost all my life. As I said in the previous video, I didn't really appreciate that I received the law now through the hand of Christ, not through Moses. So I always lived in fear of breaking commands and every time I did something wrong again, the guilt was overwhelming, and we're going to talk about that in another video. But what can happen, especially when you work in the sphere of law and public policy, is that law becomes the thing you pursue and you want to win at more than pursuing the covenant promises of God, and more than winning Christ in the course of that pursuit. And so what tends to happen is that Christianity gets reduced down to the imposition of a moral code on yourself that's not received from the hand of Christ and on everybody else. And Paul says in Romans chapter 7, I believe it is, that he said, look, when the law of God comes and righteous laws come, and so let's say the Christian wins imposing his moral code through some statute, that presses down on the person who doesn't know God, and he's going to rebel against it. It stirs up sin. It aggravates things worse. Just a small example might be when the United States Supreme Court reversed Roe versus Wade with the Dobbs decision. Immediately, a lot of states, they didn't say, oh, well, that's the law, I guess we better submit to it. No, what'd they do? They rebelled, and they went out and they passed constitutional amendments to their state constitutions that essentially guaranteed infanticide. So if the Christian's not careful about how he goes about doing it and what he thinks brings about change, not the God commanding the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in Christ into a person's heart, that the regeneration is not by the Spirit but by the law itself, well, Christianity becomes a moral code that is hated. And then Christ is hated. And the Christian wants to win Christ, right? Not have him hated. So we need to be explaining that we're made in the image of God. That's constitutive of what it means to be human. So for us to kill our offspring, for us to redefine what human sexuality is like the fish throwing himself up on the sand. He dies. He doesn't win. And so Christianity is really about restoring the image of God in human beings, and that restoration is what produces change and leads to laws that are delightful to us and to God.